What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Pens and Tea. My name is Carrie, and today, I got a special one for you today for two reasons. One, because I've been meaning to make this video for a while now, and by a while, I mean probably-ish close to about like 6 months, but I kept filming other things instead, and I'm not really sure why. But I thought I would do it now because I might be in trouble. I want to talk about the greatest fountain pen of all time. Now, I do want to preface this, put a little asterisk there. This is my opinion, obviously. There is no such thing as the greatest fountain pen, period, because it is such a subjective experience, and everybody is going to love and hate the same pen that everybody else loves or hates. You know what I mean? So, like, this is my greatest of all time fountain pen. Has been for quite some time, and you guys are going to be surprised because, again, in the past, I mean, I've been making videos for years now. So in the past, my favorite pens have been like the Pilot 823 or Platinum 3776, Aurora Optima. Like, I've had so many that I've talked about, but none compare to this. And the reason why I'm kind of in trouble, you know what? I'm going to be one of those annoying YouTubers, and I'm going to hold on to that, because before we even get into why I might be in trouble with it, let me just show you what I'm talking about. So it's not the Pilot Custom Heritage 823. It's not. It is, however, a Pilot pen, one that I have talked about continuously. And that is just a very basic looking fountain pen known as the Pilot Custom 912. Now, this is a little bit different. Again, if you've watched any of my videos, you'll know that I don't have the standard configuration of this pen. It comes with a plastic feed, whereas I have swapped that out for an ebonite feed with 3 slits running down the feed. So lots of ink. It's very, very wet. And the Falcon nib. So I've done in-depth review of this pen several times, not only initially, but relatively recent. I want to say about a week or two ago, I've done some re-reviews of my Pilot pens. This was one of them. Oddly enough, none of those videos did very well, so I don't know if I'm going to continue the series. My initial plan was to do my entire pen collection, but they did really poorly as far as like views go, so like, I don't know. We'll see if I continue. Let me know in the comment section down below if you want me to continue, because I just don't know if it's worth it. But anywho's, this pen, this video will not be like a super detailed, in-depth review of this pen. Go watch the other content if you want that. This is going to be me talking and showing you why I love this pen so much, and then also why I might be in trouble, because, spoiler, there's an up-and-comer inside this pen case. Yep. So, right before I flip the camera around and show you why I love this pen so much, this is a special one to me, because at the end of the day, it's a fountain pen. It's a tool. It's utilitarian. But there's something that this pen provides me that no other pen does. And it's not necessarily while I'm using it. It's actually after. I have talked about this before, but the more I use it, the longer I sit with it, the more years pass, the more I realize just how special it is. And that is because this is the Falcon nib, which means that it does have a bit more flex variability for you, and it doesn't require the same amount of pressure as like a Noodler's Ahab or the actual pen called the Pilot Falcon, or any of the other, flex type pens that I've used in the past. This doesn't require a lot of pressure to flex out. And with the ebonite feed, with the 3 slits down the belly of it heading towards the tines, means that it's very, very wet. So I basically need even less pressure in order to open up the tines, to have more ink flow, to show you then that line variation. And what that means for me is that while I'm writing, I can very clearly see, like, I'm a journaler, okay? I don't write a lot just offhand, like a sentence here, sentence there, that kind of thing. When I write, I tend to write for quite some time, anywhere between like 20 minutes to an hour and a half. Hour and a half ones are usually not as common. Usually 45 minutes to an hour is roughly what my journaling sessions end up being. And I just write stream of consciousness. Anything I'm feeling, anything that's frustrating me, anything that is worth celebrating, things I'm working on in my life, just things like that. I just write about them. It helps me kind of organize my thoughts, clarify them, work through any issues I may have. So when I'm done a session, I can go back and look over what I wrote, and I can tell, based on what I see, my emotions in that. Because again, it doesn't require very much pressure. If I'm upset and really working through something, I can see it in the writing. It's much wider. Like, I don't use this to like do the crazy calligraphy like most people should, but this is really a barometer of my emotions, because it's much thicker line. It's a much darker because it's a wetter line. Sometimes a little bit messier as well when I'm really emotional about something. And that emotion typically leans towards the more negative side. So if I'm upset or sad about something, that tends to be when that happens. Hi, Parker. She's just decided to come visit. And when I'm happy and jovial and things like that, my writing is much more lifted. So it's a thinner line, a little lighter of a line, and tends to be much neater as well for some reason. And that means a lot to me, because then I can go back and revisit where I've been without even having to really do a whole lot, which is very, very nice. And I'm going to go give some Parker cuddles, and then we're going to flip the camera around and I'm going to show you what this thing does and what I actually mean.
Honey, you want to come say hi to everybody? Oh, a mid-video Parker surprise. Yeah, mid-video Parker surprise. Do you want to get some treats?
Okay, so that is regular writing for the quick brown fox that jumps over the lazy dog. The ink, by the way, is Diamine Writer's Blood. If you haven't checked this ink out yet, I highly suggest you do. It really does depend on the pen that you have for the way that it's going to look. So it's usually a little bit more red than this. It's just that this is exceptionally wet. Because regular line, I guess I should even say like even less pressure maybe. And then when you like flex it out, like it's pretty awesome. So what I mean by it showing like the way that I write, so if I just say like, hello, long time, no, speak, versus if I was mad, to you it may not look a ton different. To me it does. Because I tend to write a little bit larger, definitely heavier, and definitely messier. I mean, even this is pretty messy compared to my normal writing, but I can really tell if I'm, happy versus like mad. It tends to be a little bit sharper and definitely more bold. I will say this right now, the way that it's writing, is even wetter than I normally experience with this combo. So this is a bit of an anomaly, but not too far off. Oh, I don't know why, but my HomePod just started playing My Heart Will Go On. It felt the need, I guess. That was weird. Yes, so it's a bit of an anomaly. I totally, that just completely lost my train of thought. Bit of an anomaly, but not too far off of what it normally is. And I just find it so fascinating because I have gone back and I've reread all of my journals since I started actively journaling back in 20,000. Oh my goodness, see, it shook me. Celine Dion, you shook me. Back in 2015. So, I mean, I've journaled before then, but that's when I really got serious about it. So I've gone back and read the last 9 years of my life. And when I got this pen, I don't even have to read it. I just know by looking at it what I'm in for. Because it's just so lovely. And you really don't need that much pressure. Absolutely adore it. It just, oh gosh, get this pen with this feed and everything if you haven't yet. So, because it is worth it in my humble opinion. But I did mention earlier that I'm in trouble, and I think the reason why I'm in trouble, and I don't see this taking over, but it is a good possibility that it potentially could. And that is, if you watched my last video that I posted on Friday, which is the biggest haul, the most expensive haul I've ever gotten, or you watched my last video where I talked about something I was scared to do, you will have seen this pen already. Now, I haven't done a formal review. That is still coming because I'm still learning this pen. But it is the Magna Carta Mag 600 fountain pen. I don't think it will take over the 912, but I will say there is a good possibility that it could. This pen is far too new to the point where, like I said, I haven't even done a review yet of it. It's far too new to say for certain. But that's why I wanted to make this video right now, because this pen, by far and away over everything that I have, is my greatest fountain pen of all time. This potentially has the power to replace that, and here's why. I'm going to take this Kleenex and just do this because that page is still wet. If you follow me on Instagram, or not Instagram, Patreon, link in the description by the way, then you will have already seen this because I have talked to you guys already long ago about this. By the way, for those of you who aren't a member of my Patreon, why not? I post a lot of stuff over there, a lot of sneak peeks, a lot of behind the scenes sort of thoughts and feelings as I go, and some more Parker stuff from time to time as well. So I wrote with the 912 and the Magna Carta and kind of compared the two. And the biggest takeaway so far, and I guess a little bit of spoiler for the review, is that there's about one full-size difference between the Pilot 912 Flex and the Magna Carta Flex. The non-pressure side of things, pretty darn similar, but between the flexing, you definitely get more with the Magna Carta. What I was astounded by, however, is how much less pressure the Magna Carta takes to flex than the 912. And I always say the 912 doesn't require a lot of pressure because it doesn't. But the Magna Carta requires even less. Potentially because it's a bigger nib. Potentially, I don't know. They both have ebonite feeds, so they're both pretty darn wet. The Magna Carta, I will say, they have intentionally made this one to try and be like a vintage flex. I have mentioned in the video that I talked about last Friday that I don't have experience with vintage flex. So I can't directly compare, but I will say this is unlike anything I've ever used, and you really need like just no pressure whatsoever. It's just incredible, chef's kiss, and it's so smooth. The reason why I haven't done a full review yet is because I only have used it with one ink, and if I'm going to talk about a flex pen, I absolutely like to talk about multiple inks to see if there are any hard starts. That was not a skip. That was me looking through the camera and not touching the paper. Because with Diamine Ancient Copper that it's in right now, there's been no problems. But it's only been a few days that I've had this like inked up. In fact, today is Sunday, so I talked about this video Friday, which means I inked it up Thursday. So I've only had it inked up since Thursday. So yeah, it's not enough time for me to really get into it, but this is definitely my first impressions, and that's why I'm saying, like, honestly, this has the potential, I just inked myself, this has the potential to replace the 912, but it's certainly not there yet by any means necessary, because it is just so new. So for that reason, I still say my greatest all-time pen is the 912. Has been for some time now. I really recommend picking it up if you haven't. It is also significantly less expensive than the Mag 600. So unless you're like a serious flexer, I don't mean flex as in like, oh, look at my bank account. I mean like flex as in like flex writing. Then this would more than suit your needs. And the plastic feed that it comes with, honestly, is pretty solid. The only reason why I have the ebonite feed in there is just so that I can use more inks with it without some ink starvation, because the plastic feed does tend to starve the pen out sometimes. So that's why I have the ebonite feed. But you can also get an ebonite feed with only 2 slits in it, so it's not quite as wet as the 3 slits that I have. I picked mine up from nibsmith.com, in case you're wondering. But yeah, so this is absolutely my favorite pen, my greatest pen of all time. Not because of any flashy reason other than this pen, than no other pen can show my emotions written on the page, and I just think that is so special. Let me know in the comment section down below if you've used the 912. Did you like it? Did you not like it? Why not? What is your personal greatest of all time fountain pen? Hit the like and subscribe if you don't want to miss a new video every Monday and Friday and the occasional random Tuesday. And as always, guys, thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.